The morning sun hung low over the naval base, burning through the fog that rolled in from the sea. At the gate stood a woman in crisp fatigues, her cap pulled low, her posture straight as a rifle barrel. Her nameplate read, M. Daniels. To most who passed through, she was just another security guard, polite, professional, and invisible in the way only someone doing their duty can be. That changed when Lieutenant Grant stepped out of his vehicle. Grant was tall, broad, and confident, the kind of officer who carried himself as though every regulation bent slightly to accommodate his stride. He tossed his ID toward Daniels with a smirk that was almost a challenge. "Morning, sweetheart," he said. "You gonna wave me through, or do I need to charm my way past?" Daniels caught the ID midair, glanced at it, and handed it back without expression. "Morning, Lieutenant. Step out of the vehicle, please." Grant blinked, thrown off by the calm authority in her tone. "What, you think I'm hiding something?" "Routine check, sir," she said evenly. "Vehicle inspection." Grant sighed, stepping out with exaggerated annoyance. "Sure thing, Sergeant. Guess you gotta play soldier somehow, right?" Daniels ignored the jab, circling the vehicle, eyes sharp and deliberate. Grant watched her, that amused smirk tugging at his mouth. "You know," he said, "you've got that serious thing down. Bet you scare the new recruits with that stare." She finished the inspection, returned to her post, and saluted crisply. "All clear, Lieutenant. You're free to proceed." Grant leaned against the car door. "Tell you what, Daniels, you keep it, maybe one day they'll let you guard something important. Like the mess hall." She didn't react, not even a blink. "Have a good day, sir." He chuckled, shaking his head as he drove through the gate. Inside the base, word spread quickly. The new female guard at the entrance didn't laugh at jokes, didn't flirt back, didn't even blink when officers tried to get friendly. To some, that made her cold. To others, it made her interesting. Over the next few days, Grant made it something of a mission to get a rise out of her. Every morning, he'd toss a comment her way, something sharp, something meant to crack that professional wall she kept around herself. Still standing there. "You ever get bored of pretending to be military? You sure you're not one of the base mascots they forgot to replace?" Each time, she replied with the same calm tone, "Good morning, Lieutenant. ID please." By the fifth day, Grant's frustration turned into a sort of challenge. When she again ordered a vehicle inspection, he laughed out loud. "You serious? What are you even looking for? You think I've got a rocket launcher in the trunk?" She said nothing, checking the compartments, her precision bordering on surgical. He folded his arms. "You're something else, Daniels. I mean, this base has real soldiers, SEALs, pilots, and you're out here playing traffic cop." That was when the convoy approached, 3 matte black SUVs, their windows tinted, moving in tight formation. The guards at the other gate snapped to attention, and Daniels immediately raised her hand to halt Grant's car. "Please wait here, Lieutenant." Grant frowned. "What's going on?" She didn't answer. Instead, she walked out, her stride measured, her voice steady as she spoke into her radio. Within seconds, the first SUV rolled to a stop. Out stepped 3 Navy SEALs, unmistakable by their bearing, their quiet intensity, and the way the air seemed to tighten around them. Grant leaned against his car, curious. Now this should be good. The tallest SEAL, a broad-shouldered man with a trimmed beard, scanned the gate before his eyes locked on Daniels. Then, to Grant's shock, he snapped into a salute. "Major Daniels," he said. "Good to see you again, ma'am." Grant froze. The other SEALs followed suit, their salutes crisp and immediate. Daniels returned it, her posture shifting subtly, the quiet guard suddenly replaced by someone with unmistakable command presence. "At ease, Chief," she said. "You're early." "Yes, ma'am," the SEAL replied. Had to make sure everything was secure before the Admiral's inspection. Grant's mind raced. Major. That was impossible. She wore the uniform of a security detail, not a field officer. No rank insignia visible. No indication whatsoever. The SEALs stepped aside as Daniels motioned toward the second SUV. "They're clear to proceed. Maintain formation. I'll join you at Hangar 6 after I finish here." "Yes, ma'am." As the vehicles rolled through, Daniels turned back toward Grant. Her expression was unchanged, but her eyes carried something different now, an edge of quiet authority that made his earlier smirk feel ridiculous. Lieutenant, she said evenly, you're cleared to enter. Drive safe. He stared at her. Major. She raised an eyebrow. Something wrong with your hearing, Lieutenant. No, ma'am, he said quickly, standing straighter than he had all week. She gave a faint nod and returned to her post. Inside the mess hall later that day, the story spread like wildfire. Wait, Major Daniels. You mean the gate guard? She's not just a guard, man. She's the Major Daniels, worked with SEAL Team 7 in Fallujah. Led extraction ops in Kandahar. Got a Bronze Star for pulling her team out under fire. Grant sat at the corner table, trying to look like he wasn't listening, though his stomach twisted with each word. Yeah, another sailor said. They say she got injured during an op and took a lower-profile assignment. But even the SEALs salute her. You don't get that kind of respect unless you've earned it. Grant stared into his coffee, the memory of his mockery burning hotter than the drink. He'd called her a mascot. A fake soldier. And she'd stood there, patient and silent, letting him dig his own hole. That evening, as he approached the gate, Daniels was there again, same calm posture, same professionalism. Grant stopped the car and stepped out. Major Daniels, he said quietly. Her eyes met his, unreadable. Lieutenant, I owe you an apology, he said. For the way I acted. I didn't know who you were. She shook her head. You don't need to know someone's record to treat them with respect, Lieutenant. That's something every good officer should understand. He swallowed. Yes, ma'am, you're right. There was a long silence, filled only by the sound of the distant sea and the hum of engines passing through the gate. Then, to his surprise, she gave the faintest hint of a smile. You'll learn, she said quietly. That's what the Navy's for. He nodded, straightened up, and saluted her properly this time. She returned the salute, just as precise as ever. Have a good evening, Lieutenant. 2 weeks later, Grant was assigned to a field training exercise, a joint operation involving a SEAL detachment. When the roster came in, his eyes widened. Commanding Officer, Major M. Daniels. The day of the exercise, they assembled in the pre-dawn darkness. Daniels stood at the front, dressed in tactical gear now, rank insignia gleaming faintly in the dim light. There was no trace of the quiet gate guard, only the authority of a combat leader. Listen up, she said, her voice cutting clean through the air. This is a simulated hostage extraction. I expect precision, discipline, and teamwork. I don't care what rank you wear, out there, we operate as one. Grant stood among the others, the memory of his arrogance still fresh. But, now, when she spoke, he listened. The exercise began, and chaos erupted, blank rounds firing, smoke, shouting. Through it all, Daniels moved like she'd been born for command, issuing orders, adjusting positions, calling out corrections with clarity and control. At one point, Grant tripped during a low crawl, his rifle jamming. Before he could react, Daniels was there, covering him, correcting the jam, and pulling him back behind cover. You good, Lieutenant? Yes, ma'am. Then keep moving. By the end of the drill, every man and woman on that field had seen why SEALs called her Major with that quiet reverence. As they wrapped up, Grant approached her again, sweat and dirt streaking his face. Ma'am, he said, I get it now. What they mean when they say leadership isn't about rank, it's about respect. Daniels studied him for a moment, then nodded once. You're learning, Grant. That's a good start. He managed a small smile. I'll take that as a compliment, ma'am. She turned back toward the team, the morning sun glinting off her insignia. Let's move out, she ordered, her voice steady and commanding. And as they followed her lead, Grant realized something he'd never admit out loud, that the woman he'd once mocked had taught him more about honor and humility than any textbook or classroom ever could. From that day on, every time he passed through the gate, his salute came first. And Daniels, Major Daniels, always returned it with the same calm grace, a reminder that true strength doesn't need to be loud to be seen.